Welcome to Miles Ahead, the Canadian Points podcast, brought to you by FrugalFlyer.ca, where we talk about all things miles and points, a hobby that allows us to travel all over the world in style and on a budget. This episode will cover all the recent points and miles news, along with some questions from you, our loyal listeners. As per usual, I, Danny, am joined by my regular co-hosts, Josh and Jeff.
Thanks, Danny. Yeah, excited to be here. So our first piece of news we have this time is actually super exciting and building off our successful tour of Frugal Flyer meetups this summer. We have one more this year. So we're hosting a Miles and Pints event in Calgary on September 27th from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. downtown at Trolley 5 Brewpub. Tickets are currently on sale. You can find those on eventbrite.ca if you search Frugal Flyer in Calgary. Or we do have a link on our website. We have an article on FrugalFlyer.ca that you can look into. This is the last meetup of 2025, and we'd love to see you there if you're in the area or are able to get to Calgary for that night. These meetups are a great way to meet with the Frugal Flyer team. So as of right now, myself, Jeff, Kieran, and Reed will be attending. And obviously, there'll be many other Miles and Points enthusiasts in attendance. It's a great way to network, meet new people, share your experiences and thoughts, and learn a new thing or two. So we hope to see you there.
Yeah, and this event is, I believe, the same way as the other ones, where the later you buy your ticket, the more expensive it is.
Absolutely.
Right, Josh?
Yes. Tickets are on sale now, and they're not going to get any cheaper. So if it's something that sounds up your alley, jump on it sooner rather than later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I always really enjoy these in-person events. I think they're one of the best ways to learn some of the insider secrets that may not be shared online. And one of the big topics I'm sure we'll be discussing that night will be the Aeroplan program changes, which is the main topic for our next episode, which will be coming out in about 2 weeks.
Yes, so we will touch on it a little bit here with some of the basic stuff that's changed in the Aeroplan program, because this is the largest update that's happened since 2020 when the new Aeroplan, quote unquote, was rolled out. So at a very high level, SQD, SQM, and SQS are completely gone, and it's now being replaced with SQC. And technically, like very, very technically, it is possible to earn 50K status without flying at all. But it's a pretty insane pathway to get there.
Yeah, I can't imagine anyone ever attempting this, to be honest with you. I don't know what the point would even be. Just because why would you want Air Canada 50K status if you're never actually going to get on an Air Canada plane?
It's interesting. So we've seen the shift in the program. It's now focused on spend and revenue, which is something we see a lot with other programs in North America. So it's almost in some ways starting to equalize in that regard. Now, maybe that's a good thing depending for you. Maybe it's not, but it's definitely a significant change.
Yeah, I think Canada is a significantly different market than our friends south of the border. So I see this change impacting the everyday flyer extremely negatively. But you'll get our full take on it in about 2 weeks when that episode comes out. The good news is that the 25K status match from Marriott Bonvoy Titanium status is still alive and well. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, check out our Marriott Bonvoy episode, which will be linked in the show notes. And that talks about how to get Marriott Bonvoy status, and then also some of the really interesting partnerships and bedfellows that are a part of the Marriott brand, because it is a hotel chain, but you can also do a lot of cool stuff with it. So that's definitely worth checking out. And then Jeff as well, I think the 100K everyday qualification or whatever it's called is still intact too, right?
Yeah. So that's still available, and you can earn that by shopping through Aeroplan partners. Specifically, the e-store is probably the easiest way to accumulate those 100,000 eligible points in a year. I think like their partners like LCBO, Starbucks, Uber, I believe those all count as well. So if you can maybe capitalize on some Black Friday shopping when there's a huge multiplier, that's a really good way to reach that 100K without actually having to spend, the 100,000 or earn the 100,000 points, naturally.
Okay, so our next piece of news is also credit card related, of course, and the WestJet Business Credit Card has been launched at this point. However, it's not available online. You do still have to go into a branch. I don't think that'll change by the time that we record this and have it published, but at least at the moment, you do have to head into branch, I think. I think I've got that correct, right, guys?
Yeah, it's branch, or you can call in, and we have the number on the Frugal Flyer card page on the website, so take a look. It's interesting. I thought this was a neat development when it came across, because we haven't had any other co-branded airline credit cards in Canada outside of the series of Aeroplan cards. So it's nice to see a new kind of player in the market in that regard.
Yeah, no, I think the only business credit cards are the Aeroplan ones. You're right. So interesting that we have another business branded card, but I personally think it's a little underwhelming. I don't know, Jeff, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, unless you are really, really you're like a huge WestJet fan, you're really into the status. WestJet is your main airline. I kind of agree with you. If you're really into the RBC ecosystem, I would almost argue that the RBC Avion Business Card is a better option, just because even though you're earning, I believe it's 1.25 points per dollar spent.
That's right.
On that card versus the 1.5 that you're getting as a base earn rate on the WestJet card. I'd argue that the Avion points are just a more valuable currency. So unless you're really chasing that WestJet status, and you have a lot of business spend, I'm just not sure who this card is appealing to.
The card itself is really pretty. If you've seen the card art, it's stunning. I'll give them that. It does come with that instant WestJet silver status for the current year and the following year. For those who don't know, WestJet silver status is the lowest status in the program that you have to earn, so it's kind of your entry level. It has some value, not overly. It offers things such as pre-checked bags on Delta as well as lounge passes. Again, it's kind of interesting, but it just pales into comparison from what you can get from other cards in Canada. So it feels like a niche use case, and I think Jeff hit the nail on the head, which is like, if you love WestJet and WestJet is like, your main thing and you're just nuts about it, sure, but there's probably better options.
Yeah. I mean, I think kicker for me is that this is technically the easiest path to WestJet status without actually flying WestJet, but you would need to have like a WestJet enthusiasm to get the card. So why you would want WestJet status without flying is kind of beyond me. But that's the WestJet business card. If you sign up for it and you like it and you find some other benefits that we didn't cover here, let us know in the comments. The next piece of news that we're going to be covering today is that there's a new National Bank credit card offer. And if you have never heard of National Bank before, I wouldn't blame you, but we're here to change that, because I think the National Bank, the World Elite MasterCard, Josh, that this offer is on? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the World Elite MasterCard, it's got some pretty cool perks, and especially with the current offer of FlyerFunds that may or may not be still in existence when this offer gets published. It's a pretty profitable proposition, in my opinion. What do you guys think?
So the new offer on the National Bank World Elite MasterCard involves new cardholders able to earn up to 45,000 a la carte rewards points. So it is a fragmented or segmented welcome bonus. So you get 5,000 points if you sign up for payment insurance for at least the first 3 months, which is kind of an odd component. We don't really see that on any other cards. And then the rest of the components are just straight spends. You can earn 10,000 points if you spend 5,000 in 3 months. You can earn another 10,000 points if you spend 10,000 in 6 months. And then you can earn 20,000 points if you spend 15,000 in the first 12 months. It's a lot of spending. It does accumulate over the level, so it is really just 15,000 in the first 12 months. But that's a lot to put on a singular card. Is this an offer that you guys would chase?
I don't think a National Bank point is really worth that much. I mean, they don't have any transfer partners. So it's kind of just like a fixed value point system, I think, right, Jeff?
Yeah, it is. And I mean, I think one of the main kind of appeals of this card is the travel insurance, if I'm correct, in that it offers full coverage when booking an award redemption and paying for the taxes and fees portion of that on your national bank card, which I guess, I mean, I don't really think it's worth getting the card just for that. But I know that's one of the reasons many people do like this card. And honestly, it's just not a card that's really ever come across my radar as worth going out and getting. If you live in Montreal, there's the added benefit of having I believe there's a National Bank lounge at YUL. So if you live in Montreal, there might be a little bit more incentive for you to seek out this card. But otherwise, it's just never come across my radar as being a high priority card.
Yeah.
Well, and just a note on that National Bank Lounge, it's in the international section of the airport. So you have to be flying an international flight in order to access it. And I'm a super frequent flyer, and I probably fly like 5 international segments, not transborder, truly international over an ocean. So
I have been in that lounge.
Not a ton of value there.
And
how'd you find it?
It was fine. It's fine. You know, like it's a lounge in Canada. Is maybe the best way to put it. Like it has hot food, it has alcohol, it's better than sitting in the terminal. So it was good. There's a few other components to the card that I didn't mention earlier. So it does have first year free as well, which is fantastic. Easy way to try it for the first year. Our current offer is 100 FlyerFunds. Like Danny said, you know, there's not an end date on that as it stands at the point of recording, but it is a great way to get into the card because you're not paying for an annual fee. You're getting a $100 rebate from Frugal Flyer, and the card has a $150 annual travel credit. And, you know, I know neither of you hold the card, but Reed does. Do you guys have any thoughts on how to get the most value out of this travel credit?
I mean, for that travel credit, I think it should be pretty easy to do some sort of refundable hotel deal, right?
Yeah, it's super flexible from what you can use it on. Really, you just have to like manually submit it in your travel expenses tab when you're logged into National Bank. So
cool.
It's, you know, you could play it that way. You could also probably use it very easily, legitimately, to say the least, between like seat selection, parking, airline lounges, ticket upgrades. Like it's really, when they call it an annual travel credit, they really mean like travel credit. Like it's pretty open-ended, which is, it's nice. It's great to see. So
yeah,
not a bad offer.
I think the last thing I want to add on this is that it does earn 5 national bank points, which they're a fixed points currency, but they're worth 1 cent each. So basically like 5% cash back at groceries and restaurant earnings, which is the highest earning rate outside of an Amex card in Canada.
Yes.
So, I mean, we talk a lot about the Scotiabank Gold and the Amex Cobalt, and those are both awesome cards, but at places that don't take Amex, this blows everything else out of the water. Like even the $600 Aeroplan cards that earn 1.5 Aeroplan points per dollar spent, if you value those at full face value at 2 cents each, you're getting a 3% return. Here you're getting a 5% return. So for getting $250 in true cash in your first year, and you get the ability to earn 5x at grocery and restaurant, I might be joining Reed in card ownership. We shall see.
It's a good option. Nice for acceptance when MasterCard is pretty universally good to go. So
totally. Okay, now moving south of the border for our next 2 items, the Amex Bonvoy Brilliant offer, which is a card that we talk heavily about on this show and on our website, and also makes a heavy appearance in that Bonvoy episode that we talked about earlier, has a best ever welcome bonus matching their previous all-time high of 185,000 Marriott Bonvoy points. Now you do have to spend $6,000 US, but you've got 6 months to do it. So basically, if you can spend 1,300 or 1,400 Canadian dollars every month, you can get yourself 185,000 Bonvoy points, but you do have to know how to get into US cards. And we do have a very in-depth guide of how to do that we'll be linking to. So if you're first time ever hearing about how to get US cards as a Canadian, you can follow the link in the show notes and move on. And then Jeff, there was some recently great news for Canadians about fast-tracking security lines south of the border. What's going on here?
Yeah, so for those that have been through one of the major U.S. airports, you may have seen clear kiosks. They're pretty noticeable when you're in the terminal before security. that has they've been established for maybe, I don't know, 5 years or so, but they're now available to Canadian passport holders. So what Clear is essentially a security. It grants you expedited security, and then if you're able to pair that with a Nexus card, you can usually get through security pretty quickly. And basically, what it does is you will submit your biometrics, and I'm talking about fingerprints and facial scans, in order to identify you, which should expedite the process through security if it's a busy day. And I don't really know much about it. I'm gonna enroll next week when I'm in the US, and I'll have an article coming probably in the next month or two about it. So it's definitely, I mean, honestly, with TSA pre-check that comes with your Nexus, I'm not really sure how much of a difference it's going to make, but I'm at least going to give it a go. And depending on what credit card you hold, in a US credit card I should say, you can get Clear Plus for free.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in my household, we have both the US Amex Platinum and we have the Hilton Aspire card. So we're going to get Clear Plus for the both of us. I tried already to sign up and submit my passport online, and it didn't like it. It didn't want to go. So we're going to have to visit a U.S. airport in person to get that passport and identity verified.
Yeah, I'll just quickly mention that you can enroll online, and then once you have your account set up, you can just show up at the airport, and you can finalize your account set up there by the looks of things.
That's cool. Yeah. I think if you can do it for no cost through a credit card perk, like, what the hell? Why not?
Yeah, and it's pretty expensive now, $210 US. I mean, It's not cheap.
Yeah.
No, and this could also come in handy if anybody travels for sporting events. I know, for example, that at the Ball Arena down in Denver, they've got Clear Plus lanes, so you can completely bypass the massive line as everybody tries to get into the event and get even more value out of your Clear Plus membership
cool.
that way.
I didn't know about that. That's
30,
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, there's around 30 venues now, I think, that they have stadiums and such, yeah.
Even better.
Okay, so we're going to wrap up the show here by catching up on our very popular podcast form questions that have come in. We haven't had a ton of time to get through these, but we're going to use the last roughly 10 minutes of this episode to get through all of these outdated questions. So, Carly, you have been waiting quite some time to hear back from us. You submitted your question on June 16th through the podcast form, and you start by giving us a compliment. You say, "I love the podcast. This is the only place I can get relevant Canadian content. I think I need a whole episode, though, about closing credit cards. You guys talk a lot about opening cards, signing up for offers, etc., but I would like a more in-depth strategy of when to close, how to transfer points, and leave enough time to reopen to engage in more welcome offers in the future. How do I do all of this without lowering my credit score? Thanks, Carly." Well, there's a lot to unpack there. We could probably do a whole episode about closing credit cards, but my 2 cents on this, because we do have 4 other questions to get through, would be never close your oldest card. That's going to be where all of your longest payment history is from and all of your good payment history. In terms of closing new cards, I close new cards like all the time. There's many cards if I don't have a downgrade offer for, if I've had it for a year, I'll close it, no problem, because that history is only a year old, so it doesn't really impact my score that much. But what do you guys have to say on this topic?
Yeah. I'll say ever since starting in Miles and Points, and I know my P2 would echo this sentiment, is you think credit scores may be a concern, but they really aren't. Like long term, like both of our scores are better than they've ever been, and we have held many cards over many years and closed many cards. So I can understand the hesitancy there, but it should, depending on the rest of your personal financial situation, it really shouldn't be that big of a concern. I'm kind of the same as Danny. I have many cards that I keep that I'm spending on regularly with great multipliers, such as, grocery or dining multipliers. Those are my keepers, Amex Cobalt, Scotiabank Gold, American Express card. But there are a lot of cards that have, I guess what I would call limited utility past that first year. And for those, you look at your personal situation, and if it's not a card that's worth keeping, there's no shame in closing it. So that's the approach I would take. Now, whether you'd be eligible for a welcome offer again in the future, a lot of these cards have terms and conditions which may or may not apply. American Express is very clear that you can't, and they're pretty serious about that. Other banks may say you can't, but you never know if you don't try, I guess maybe is the best way to put it. So
read between the lines, one could almost say. And Jeff, do you have anything that we haven't covered yet? I know we covered a lot of the bases.
Yeah, I would pretty much agree with everything you guys said, and that's my strategy as well. Although Carly was asking about transferring points before closing a card, so I will touch on that. So what you want to do is transfer points out to your preferred partner before closing, or if you hold multiple cards from the same issuer, they will sometimes let you transfer those points or combine them over to another card that you plan on keeping. That way you don't have to commit to transferring them out to a transfer partner. You can hang on to them on another card for when you need them.
Yeah, I think most banks will let you do that too. Like in the past month, I've called CIBC to combine Aventura, TD to combine TD Rewards. RBC you can do on your own. Amex automatically does it. BMO, I have no idea. But it's pretty intuitive. So
yeah, no, excellent ad there, Jeff. And then Jeff, we also had a question from Paul Winder.
Yeah, Paul Winder sent this in on July 21st, and he's asking what is the best way to spend euros while traveling in Europe? Is it no FX fee cards or cash? And by that, he means no foreign exchange fee credit cards. Just to clarify, I have an answer of what I do, but I'll get your guys' thoughts first.
Yeah. So if the question is no foreign exchange fee cards or cash, if that is the base level of this question, no foreign exchange fee cards, cash. Yes. I mean, take a little bit of cash out when you're there, bring some if you want. It's always nice to have cash in a international foreign country. You never know. But at the surface, yeah, use the card. Now the question is, and we talked about this in a previous episode, is it worth focusing on a no foreign exchange fee card or using a card that's going to earn you the most amount of points, or are you working on a minimum spend? That's where we get kind of in the weeds, right?
Yeah, we did cover this actually as another question. It's a popular thing that I get asked about a lot. I think what I said on that one is, in that scenario, somebody was asking about a U.S. card versus a Canadian card that has foreign transaction fees. Generally, you want to avoid foreign transaction fees, right? If you can get a U.S. card that has multipliers and no foreign transaction fees, you're winning. If you have a card with transaction fees versus without, probably without, but directly, Paul Winder, cash or no FX fees? No FX fees. We don't like to spend cash here.
Yep.
That's right. And then Josh, we had a question from somebody who's very well known to all of us and a great supporter of our Miles and Pints meetups. What's going on here?
Yeah, so Ralph asks on August 8th, what kind of luggage do you guys fly with? I'm looking for a new carry-on, and between the different options, I don't know if I should get something cheap or something expensive. I'm currently looking at brands including Samsonite, Briggs & Riley, Tumi, and Travel Pro. What do you guys fly with?
So I'm a Samsonite flyer, pretty much through and through. When I bought my luggage 5 years ago, when I started traveling again, I was enticed by their 10-year warranty. I have since been disenchanted with this 10-year warranty, as it doesn't really cover much. So the only thing that I would say I like about my Samsonite luggage is that if you buy the luggage that has separate wheels rather than like a singular wheel, I don't know how to describe it other than that. And if you can't see me on YouTube, if you're listening to this on Spotify, check it out on YouTube, because the two wheels are significantly better than the singular wheel. And that's about all the feedback that I've got.
Can you open Microsoft Paint and draw this for us? It would really
Yes.
help. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
I I'm kind of in between. Personally, my carry-on, I have like a messenger bag and an actual carry-on that are both from Briggs & Riley. Expensive, I'll be honest. Took me a while to bite the bullet on that, but they're really well-built bags. I've traveled a lot with them. I can fit a lot into them. I took just that carry-on and the messenger bag to Japan for 2 weeks. It was fine outside of doing like laundry once. We also have a Travel Pro checked bag in our house. That's like a hard-sided Travel Pro. We don't really travel with checked bags that often, but if we are going somewhere where we want to bring stuff back, it's usually when I'm traveling with my partner. We use that, and it's built really well. So I'm happy with both. I really like the Briggs & Riley. It also has a great lifetime warranty. You may have to ship it to a service center, but they do mean lifetime when they say lifetime. But the initial out-of-pocket cost can be rough if you're looking at, 850 Canadian for a carry-on. It's painful. Yeah. It's always in the back of my mind, even after spending the money. It's like, damn. So what about you, Jeff?
Yeah, so I'm going to encourage Ralph to join Team Backpack, because that's what I've been really trying to do lately. My wife and I went to Africa and Middle East and Saudi Arabia with just our backpacks, and we did just fine. I have a Tortuga backpack. I don't know if you guys have heard of that brand or not, but they make travel backpacks. They're very expensive, but they are extremely well built. You get like 1 million pockets. It'll hold a ton of stuff. Like I'm talking $400 US for a backpack. So they're really expensive, but I think they're worth it. And honestly, I kind of just get pleasure out of, well, I don't know if pleasure is the right word, but I get, I like the idea of just not having to pack a ton of stuff and just knowing that I don't need a ton of stuff. I always find that I end up overpacking, and traveling with a backpack, really forces me to only take the things I absolutely need. And if I need to do laundry along the way, that's fine.
Maybe satisfaction is the right word that you're looking for there, Jeff.
There you go.
It's pleasure.
And actually, I want to change my answer, because I love my Patagonia Black Hole backpack. It was also like $280 US, and my wife bought it without talking to me, and I said that was the craziest thing that she's ever done, is buy a $300 backpack. As everybody should know by now, I travel like 100 segments a year, and this backpack saves me on so many occasions. You can fit so much stuff into it. It's so durable. None of the zippers are broken. So I'm also on Team Backpack. So backpacks for the win. And that'll bring us to our final question, and getting us completely caught up on all of these questions, from John Carlos. And John Carlos asked this question through the podcast forum on August 13th. And he says, "Hi guys, great episode, and it's nice to see your faces on YouTube. I recently got the Bonvoy Brilliant, and I'm working on the sub or sign-up bonus for those not in the know. I listened to the previous Marriott episode, and I will link my account to Singapore. If you're not in the know on this, you can link your Marriott and Singapore accounts, and Andy actually did this to get Star Alliance Gold. His question goes on to finish off with, I'm going to be in Asia, and it reminded me of that Singapore and Marriott Star Alliance Gold Fast Track. What would you recommend for the following years after my Star Alliance Gold status runs out? Do you have any recommendations for me?" And full disclosure, we had nothing. So we reached out to Andy, who is the member of our team who actually did the status fast track, and he basically said there is no strategy. So I'm sorry, John Carlos. You're going to be back to acquiring 50,000 status qualifying miles with KrisFlyer if you want to renew your gold status, but at least you can get cheap gold status with any 4 Singapore Airlines flights. They can be basic economy. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how long they are. So if you find yourself in Asia, and if you're a platinum or a titanium member, and if you have an email address that can be created with a Singapore KrisFlyer membership, you too can get Star Alliance Gold. And if you want to hear more about that, the Marriott Bonvoy episode is making a strange amount of appearances in this episode of the news. But I think the Marriott Bonvoy episode needs to be listened to again. If you haven't heard that one yet, go back, give it a listen, because there's a lot of really good stuff in there. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Miles Ahead. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. If you have any questions about the episode or anything that we talked about, be sure to leave a comment on the episode page on FrugalFlyer.ca. And if you have a question you want us to answer on air, you can submit it on FrugalFlyer.ca/podcast. Bye, everybody.